Sectors and services of the ICT industry, interrelationships between areas. Now, in a previous video, we looked at different sectors and services that exist within the ICT industry, and we saw really how broad and diverse the industry is, with a variety of different jobs that both exist within the ICT industry itself, but also support other sectors within other industries as well, really being a foundation industry that allows other industries to function through the use of ICT technology. So we're going to now take a look at the actual different sectors within the ICT industry once again, and those same sectors from the previous video, but see how they interrelate with one another and have to work with one another in order for the industry to flow. So firstly, we'll take a look at how ICT products are created. Now, the first step here is that of research and development, testing out ideas, seeing what we can make, and trying to create that new technology. Now, obviously, we're conceiving ideas, we're doing research at this stage, but the other thing we need to do as well is build the technology that we're conceptualizing. So, computer engineers would be needed to create the physical components of that technology and start making prototypes of the technology that we're developing in the research and development stage. On the other side of R&D, we've got programming happening through software development. We're creating interfaces and the code that go into the development of new software. Now, obviously, we're looking at both sides in R&D, so therefore computer engineering and software development need to work together as well. So that kind of triangle of sectors there all work in different departments to create new technology. Now, the next step here is once it's created, we would then want to get these products onto the market so they can be purchased or obtained by either individuals or by workplaces. And we primarily have two methods of doing that these days. We've obviously got the traditional retail industry where I go into a shop, I look at products and I buy them over the counter. But then I've also got e-commerce as well, where I can look online for products. I can check them prices against each other. I can look for the newest products online and see what's coming out and be updated through e-commerce. And then if I do it through e-commerce, the product gets sent directly to my business or to my home, depending who I'm buying for. And that's basically the two ways I can then obtain the ICT products. Now, the next area we'll look at is getting the products installed into our organization or into our home. And by installing them into our organization, we need to make sure that they fit in with our infrastructure, okay, which is how my organization is set up. The existing network I have, the technology I have running on my network, it's got to fit into those components. So people need to be in place to install the technology into my network to make sure it fits into my network. Now, some of these components might be automated technology. Okay, through the use of robotics and AI, it might be actual technology that runs itself. So that needs to be set up there, yeah, and become a part of my infrastructure and hopefully run itself as a part of my infrastructure. Also, in relation to infrastructure too, when the new technology goes in, we need people to support our users in the use of that technology. So we bring in a new piece of software, a new piece of hardware. People need to be trained, they need ongoing support, and the actual technology needs ongoing maintenance as a part of the network in order to keep running. So we need that user support with ICT. And that also extends to the automated technology as well. There needs to be people supporting the automated technology too, ensuring that it keeps running as well there. Branching off from infrastructure once again is we need to store our data. Now, data can be stored on site, but we've also mentioned that there are things now called data centers, allowing for our data to be stored off site. In many cases, this may be used using cloud technology to store it through the internet into a server, potentially somewhere on the other side of the world. Okay, protecting our data if something happens on site, it's stored in the cloud. Now, if it's stored in the cloud, okay, that's great. It protects it against on-site issues, but it also needs to be secure. So information security also comes in at this stage too to protect the data stored within the data centers. But obviously, it's not just for data stored in data centers too. Data security also needs to be in place to protect the data stored on our site as well. Okay, and so we need to have security measures on our site, on our own network, in order to protect the data stored as a part of our organization. So I hope this video has given you an understanding of the interrelationship between the different sectors and services that can exist within the ICT industry. As previously mentioned, there are many other sectors and services as well. It's an exciting industry where new jobs are always being created, and there's many different variants of jobs and subcategories of jobs that also exist. So I've tried to stick to the basics here, and hopefully you can see how these different categories of sectors interrelate with one each other and really help how the ICT industry flows.